Hi, this is Louise Bibby from getupandgoguru.com and 15-minute power plays with your kids.com. Today I thought I'd just talk a little bit about my new Kindle book, which is called 15-minute power plays with your kids, how to be a better parent in 15 minutes a day. And every time I go to film anything about anything, my budgie thinks I'm talking to her. So if you hear her talking, that's just because she thinks she wants to be part of the conversation. So the book that I've published is really a fairly short read, and it's I call it a recipe book style book. Because you can just flip it open at any page, and there's 31 ideas of how to spend quality time with your kids, and they're really simple ideas, and they're things that you might not think about until you open it and go, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about doing that. And that's just really what I wanted it to be. I didn't want it to be anything other than a mum telling about her experiences and coming from her experiences. So I am not a parenting expert, not by any means, and I actually don't think a parenting expert exists. They may be called that, but I just don't think anyone's an expert on parenting. I think we could all do, there's always things that we can do better as parents, and there's such debate about what's better, what's the way to do it, and there's so many answers to that. So I think really an expert is just someone who knows a little bit more than you do. So in some ways I guess I could call myself an expert, because compared to the person I was 11 years ago, when my daughter was just born, because her birthday's actually in a few days' time, compared to that person, I'm an expert at parenting. But I'm no, my psychology honours degree, my great marks in that degree, the fact that I ended up top of the Bachelor of Psychology class, all of that stuff, that's nice. And it means I can study well, and I'm a pretty good student, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be any better parent than anyone else, and I can tell you I'm not. I do my best just like anyone else does. And the reason I wrote this book was because partly it was because a friend had just written an ebook, and I started to open my eyes to what was available. And I've always been a writer of some sort or another. I worked as a journalist for a short time. I've written in journals all my life and diaries. I've just always been a writer, and so the idea of writing an ebook, it appealed to me, and so I just started. I actually thought, well, what do I know about? What do I know a little bit more about that maybe could help other people? And at the time, my daughter was around 6, and I had really noticed something that surprised me. And what it was that I would often put pressure on myself to think that I had to put aside an hour or two to do something special with her, like sit down and play board games, or take her for a picnic, or just all sorts of things. I thought I had to put a lot of time into that, and felt guilty when I didn't. And because I have a chronic illness and have managed that chronic illness for 21 years, and it got more severe during pregnancy, so I managed that, so I had more guilt around that even. But when I actually just took 15 minutes, 15 minutes, and really went out and did simple things like push her on the swing, because she just loved me pushing her on the swing. When I did that, I found that one, it was awesome for her. She just thought I was the best mum. She had an absolute ball. But the second thing was that I found I had a lovely time too, because I allow myself to be fully present with her at that time and just fully enjoy my kid, away from the stresses and strains of the household and the bills to pay and the illness management and all sorts of stuff. when I just could take myself away from that just for those 10 or 15 minutes and really just be with my kid, it just made a difference. It made a difference to me because it sometimes brought out the kid in me. I mean, when we go to the playground or when we went to the playground and I found myself on the play equipment with her, I found I was just having a ball. And so sometimes we can find that it brings the child out in us, and that's not a bad thing. You know, we're all kids at heart anyway. We just squash that part of ourselves, I think, because we need to be responsible adults, and that's up to a point we definitely do. But we can also be kid-like at times, and our kids love it when we're kids with them to some extent. And so 15 minutes just seemed to be often enough. And I mean, I only put the 15-minute thing on because, well, it sounds catchy, but it can be 10 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, you know, but just short periods of time. That was enough for my daughter often to just go, thanks, Mum, or, you know, maybe they don't always say thanks, but, you know, to run off and do something else. You know, sometimes I'd find myself, like, she'd ask me to colour in with her, so I'd be there colouring in a drawing while she's colouring in another one, and then after 10 minutes she'd get sick of it and she'd go off and do something else, and I'd find myself actually just finishing off, just making sure that my picture was finished and finding that I'd really enjoyed that time with her, but also being surprised that it didn't take much at all for her to be satisfied and to feel, I think, to feel seen and acknowledged and important. And then off she went to do her own thing. So often we put ourselves under so much pressure, and I really think that maybe we don't have to. And maybe just grabbing these small moments of time that we have in between our other things and really just being present, fully present with our children for those 10 or 15 minutes, even when we're just driving them to a dance class or some other commitment. Just really listening to their story about what happened during the day. And you know, it's sometimes hard to listen to a 10-year-old story about what happened in the playground, but I guess sometimes it's hard for them to listen to us talking about our issues that really aren't important to them. So kind of stepping into their shoes and remembering how it was to be a 10-year-old or a 5-year-old, if you can remember that far back. That's handy if you can do that. So yeah, that's really why I wrote it. I wrote it because I want people, parents, to stop getting stuck in parental guilt, stop feeling like we're not doing enough. We're doing the best we can, and if we're not, well, we know the areas where we've got to step up, and we'll continue to try and do that. And one of the ways that we can step up, I think, is just to really schedule in that 15 minutes, even if it's just 15 minutes. I seem to have kind of a number of 15 minutes through the day that I do these things with my kid, but they come naturally really now. So give it a go. My book is available on Amazon Kindle right at this moment on the, what date is it? The 14th of August 2014. My budgies are agreeing with that. On the 14th of August till I think it's Tuesday the 19th of August, US Pacific Standard Time, it will be available for 99 cents. And then after that, that promotion will finish and it will go up to $4.99, which won't break the bank for most people. It's still very affordable, and it's well worth getting, I'd say. So check it out. Leave me a review if you feel inclined. I'd love that. And pop over to our Facebook page. It's 15-minute power plays with your kids, just with the facebook.com put in front of it. Okay, oh, and there's a website. The website's 15-minute power plays with your kids. I was trying to find a shorter version, and I do have a shorter version of that website registered, but it's at the moment 15-minute power plays with your kids.com. Check it out. There's lots of other stuff on the site, so go and have a look. Thanks very much for listening today. This is Louise Bibby signing off from 15-minute power plays with your kids.com. Cheers guys.